to the Birdhouse Dynasty Show and our Wednesday night heater. We are talking the hottest players in Dynasty Fantasy Football right now. Apologize for the late start, but here we are, ready to talk who is hot, who is not, who to buy, and who to sell. We've got some risers and fallers, and we want to get right into the running back market because it is wild. This last week was just nuts. Jonathan Taylor going off for 3 touchdowns and over 200 yards over in Berlin this week. I don't know what his prices. They are so high right now. I don't know if I can justify trading for him or not. I've tried in a couple of leagues. I was offering 2 firsts plus Brashard Smith, which I love Brashard Smith, my most owned player in Dynasty, but he isn't doing anything right now. So Jonathan Taylor, though, is a league winning. He is Saquon Barkley of last year. Now the question is, though, who is the Jonathan Taylor of last year? Is it Bucky Irving? Bucky Irving showed up in sweats at practice today, got everybody all excited on Twitter, but he was just in sweats and he's still listed as doubtful. So key is, though, that he was back in practice. Last week, he was running around before the game on the field. So is Bucky Irving the Jonathan Taylor of last year that can help you win your leagues? Well, let's go check out the old Dynasty Daddy and Jonathan Taylor deals. Here we go. So, first one up. 12 team, start 11 full PPR, 0.75 tight end premium. And we've got JT and Travis Etienne going for 226 firsts. Let's call them both mid. That one is pretty solid, I think, a solid return. Like, I don't love giving up 2 firsts for JT. He's 27, going on 28. Could very well have a Saquon Barkley type follow-up season to this magical run that he's on right now. Why do you like Brashard Smith? I'm on the fence. Okay, so this goes back to college. I watched him at SMU, and he played wide receiver, literally. So I like Brashard Smith, because he fits the Kansas City offense perfectly. Like, they literally drafted him to be in the Jerick McKinnon role. And week by week, it depends on the game flow, game script, all of that. Some weeks he gets more looks, other weeks not so much. But he's also a rookie. Like, Jerick McKinnon, by the time he got to the Chiefs, was a seasoned veteran. If you remember, Jerick McKinnon was a high draft pick by the Minnesota Vikings. Went to San Francisco. He missed his first 2 years in the NFL, and McKinnon then went to San Francisco, got a little work in, and then got cut and went to the Chiefs. And he found himself with the Chiefs, and Andy Reid had a spot for him, but he always was splitting time, right? And that's what's going to happen with Brashard Smith. So, I don't think that he's going to ever be necessarily a top 5 running back, but he was somebody that I loved taking in the 4th round, sometimes in the 3rd round of this year's draft. It depended on the league and I guess need and what teams. Like, I liked Aranda Gadsden in that area. I didn't hit on everybody. Okay, I didn't take Gadsden in every single league, but I'm trying to think of some of my misses in there. Who did I miss on? Well, I was pretty much taking all of the running backs I could possibly take in this year's draft just because it was so stacked. I did like Will Howard, so I got a few shares of Will Howard. Definitely hasn't done anything for me right yet. But Brashard Smith, back to him, Brian. Brashard Smith is, he's super young and he has the skill set of Jerick McKinnon. What that means, though, in the Kansas City offense is he's going to be an inconsistent producer. Now, being so young, though, more he could get more consistent than what McKinnon was. If you remember, McKinnon was that third down type back, good pass blocker, but he also got in. He was their goal line back, so that gave him tons of opportunities in there. Now Kansas City, the way they run things, and they still do run it the same. They inside the five, they run all sorts of different stuff. Travis Kelce gets these shovel passes. Xavier Worthy gets end arounds. Rashee Rice gets inside there. So you're not going to end up getting some kind of Jonathan Taylor back out of Brashard Smith. His ultimate ceiling would be, an Alvin Kamara, right? Where they have this hammer to go along with him, and he exceeds the Jerick McKinnon role. And being so young, I think that's a possibility. That would be his ultimate ceiling. More like, though, he's going to be a running back in that running back 15 to 20 range, and that's what I foresee. Now, the other key to why I love drafting him is Isaiah Pacheco and his contract. Isaiah Pacheco he was a 6th or 7th round pick by the Chiefs. He's not somebody that the Chiefs are going to lock down with a 3-4 year deal this offseason. So that means that they're going to be bringing in somebody else probably next year, unless Pacheco decides, I doubt it, but he could decide to come back for super cheap because he wants to win. But I would think that Pacheco has done enough. Okay, there's some teams out there that are going to be willing to overlook the injuries, and I'm just saying there's probably 2, 3, 4 teams out there that will still pay him something. The kid runs hard. Okay, no doubt Pacheco is a winner, and he's earned every bit that he's gotten in the NFL. I'm saying realistically, the Chiefs could run it back with Kareem Hunt again next year. Another year older Kareem Hunt. And so that's why I like Brashard Smith. If you're in rebuild mode, by all means, get him as a throw-in. I'm not saying Brashard Smith's the kind of back that you want in as a throw-in, like I was doing with the Jonathan Taylor deal, right? So I didn't want to get rid of Brashard Smith necessarily, but I also want to win my league, right? And I don't think that Brashard Smith is going to actually help me win my league this year. He's not cracking my starting lineup on that squad. I've got Achane, I've got 2 other starting running backs. Literally, I start 3 running backs every week in that league. Taylor, the real thing with JT, and this is something huge to consider, and why you want to go out and actually buy high on somebody like JT. When you acquire JT, he's not only helping your team, but he's also preventing your opponent from going and acquiring him. If somebody's a bottom 3 team in your league and they're not trading away Jonathan Taylor right now, they're just foolish. That is not the way you play Dynasty. If you're a bottom 3 team right now, are you really thinking that you're going to contend next year in Jonathan Taylor's 28-year-old season? Really? If you're a bottom 3 team in your league, that means that your max points is bottom 3. Okay, so you literally have stripped shit down, and your bottom three, unless you've literally got Joe Burrow, Malik Neighbors, uh, Cam Scattaboo, the list goes on. Like the 5 or 6 top end injured players. I'm just trying to think. There's one more top 15 or so player that got hurt. Jaden Daniels. So yeah, super flex. If you're two quarterbacks going into this season were JD and Joe Burrow, then I could understand thinking that you got a shot winning it next year. Okay, but other than that, like it's pretty hard for you to sell me on keeping JT because he's going to be one of the main centerpieces to you contending next season. Okay, you got like, and it goes into the way I build my rosters. Like I build a foundation of usually like 5 players I want to have. Right, I start with I want like 2 quarterbacks and 3 wide receivers that I can count on that I'm going to be able to have for the next 2 or 3 seasons. That's the window that I want to play in. The running backs I look at in a 1 year window. And that's what I'm looking at with JT, if I'm buying Bijan, if I'm buying Gibbs, any of these running backs, I'm buying for a 1 year. Okay? And if I can sell them in the off season, I will. Last year, I bought JT going into like week or 9 or 10, right when he was coming off of his injury. He had like a 3 or 4 week stint with I think it was an ankle injury, right? Like a high ankle sprain. And he looked like garbage the beginning of the season. The O line was banged up, whatever. It wasn't going well. But then he just smashed. And I got him for a first. It was like a mid first, right? Off season came. Somebody wanted him for a first and second. Boom. I took the first and second and ran. I took the championship and ran. Took my payout. Boom. Now, does it look great? Not right now. No. And I've been struggling with that squad. I sure could use JT right now. And that league is one of the leagues that I'm using as an example. Like that that guy who bought him, like that's all he's got. He's like 0-20, I think, right now. And I can't remember what I offered him for JT a couple of weeks ago. I'm pretty sure it was a first and 2 seconds. I'm gonna have to go look back because I am going to make an offer for JT. Now I'm middle of the pack, so I'm really gonna have to analyze things to make sure. I got to look at some of the top end teams and actually see like where my points for are in that league. Because if I'm just middle of the pack in points for, I don't know that I want to make that move. But I do know that I have Hurts and Mahomes in that league, so I don't want to. The thing when you have 2 stud quarterbacks like that, you don't want to waste away years like that. If you've got Josh Allen, like this is it, man. Every year you're trying to go all in. Like there's no rebuild. Okay, rebuild is for Jaden Daniels. Okay, that's what Jaden Daniels is. All right, so just things to think about with JT in your league. But you should literally know in every one of your leagues who the JT owner is. You should know in all of your leagues, if you're on the opposite end of the spectrum, who the Jaden Daniels owner is. You should know already if you're rebuilding or we're going into rebuild who the Malik Neighbors owner was. If you weren't able to acquire Malik Neighbors a few weeks ago, now is another time to try and get him with Jackson Dart getting the concussion, Brian Dable getting fired. Like it's a mixed bag as far as what the excitement level is for the New York Giants right now. So me personally, I'm super excited about the Giants, and I'm going in as much as I can on that squad on my rebuilding teams or my teams that are middling and I'm just retooling, right? So I haven't had to go out and buy Jackson Dart too much in the last couple of weeks. I already did that. About 4 or 5 weeks ago, I was heavy on buying Dart if I could, and I got him in a couple leagues. Uh, so I haven't had to really go out. I think whoever has him now, he's just so hot they don't really want to trade him, and I don't blame them. So that's fine. But there's nothing wrong with that. Let's go look at some of these other trades here. Okay, so we've got Jonathan Taylor for a 26 first and 3 seconds. That's interesting. I'd really love to know where these firsts are. That's hard to say. Let's say it's a middling first and an early, mid, and late second. Okay. Is that something you'd want to do? I like that deal for both sides. I do. Here's another one. JT and a third for Rico Dowdle, 2 firsts and a second. Now, this is one where even if these two are late, 26 and 27 first, I love the Rico Dowdle side of this one. Over here, JT and Spencer Rattler, whose value's gone in the tank, for Bo Nix. Let's get rid of this ad. Khalil Shakir, Kamani Vidal, and J.K. Dobbins. Ooh, yuck. But with Bo Nix is a guy to be buying in on right now. Okay, his value is going down. So people have soured on him. Now in a 2 QB or Superflex league, I'm guessing if you sold Bo Nix to buy JT, that means you probably have 2 other quarterbacks that you're liking, right? Or you have one stud quarterback in like Allen, Lamar. Trying to think, is Allen, Lamar, Hurts, Mahomes, and then one other decent one, maybe a Stafford, even a random mix bag like Stroud and Flacco, right? That's fine as your quarterback room. If you've got Mahomes and you've got Stroud and Flacco, like you can roll with that right now. It's gonna suck when Burrow comes back, but getting rid of Bo Nix, like that's how you're able to grab JT. Okay, so I don't hate that because Vidal's an expiring asset real soon here when Hampton comes back after the bye and going into the playoffs. J.K. Dobbins is banged up. Khalil Shakir, I like, but I'm not in a start 10. Like, I'm not going crazy over Khalil Shakir. Next up here, Josh Jacobs and Jefferson for Jonathan Taylor. Come on. That's ridiculous. Bucky Irving and Garrett Wilson for JT and Olave. Yeah, give me the free Olave in that one. JT for Puka. Wow, straight up. That is ballsy. Give me Puka. Sorry, but I will take Puka. Now, granted, that's probably a deal where you're 2 powerhouses, honestly. Because both, if you've had JT all this year and you've had Puka Nacua all this year, like 75% of the teams owning JT and Puka are probably in the playoffs right now. Those two have lifted you up into a level where you're at least top 6, if not a top 4 team in your league. Like the war for both of those two is just insane. All right, let's do 2 more here. I don't want to go too crazy on JT here. Here's JT for a 26 and 27 first. I can understand that if you're contending, because give me a break. I mean, once the season's over, as long as JT doesn't like tear an ACL, what are you going to be able to get for JT in the open market? Like immediately, like the first couple weeks after the season. You think you can get 2 firsts back? Maybe. Worst case, you only get a first and second. Okay, is that giving up a second or 2 seconds worth, like the drop there, if you get a first and second back, is that worth a title run with JT this year? Absolutely. So there you have it. I mean, this one over here, it's got a lot of pieces. McCarthy, JT, and Josh Downs for Burrow, 27 first and a third. That one's interesting. Like you're upgrading to Burrow. I wouldn't say Taylor and McCarthy for Burrow, but you're giving up a 27 first. Whew. I mean, this definitely gives you more of a contending window, but you're dropping down from Burrow to McCarthy. McCarthy could bounce back here. He's one of those wild cards. If you're looking for a quarterback to take a stab on, I don't hate taking the stab on McCarthy. Okay, McCarthy's got a little bit of a negative perception for sure. Okay, he's almost got to the point where half your league might have just soured on him. And so, yeah, it's like the dude's got Jefferson, Addison, Hawkinson, a decent back in Aaron Jones. Like, he gets it together, and the magic can happen. And he's only going into what now? His fifth start it'll be? Like, look at Caleb Williams. It's taken him a whole year and a half just about, and finally things are starting to click for him. So take it easy on McCarthy. I mean, he could definitely blow up for you in the playoffs. Absolutely. I'm not out on McCarthy. That's for sure. All right, next up, we're gonna roll into Devon Achane. Yes. So this is the interesting thing with Achane, of course, quite simply, is that he plays for the Miami Dolphins. Like, I don't know how else to put it. He just smoke show this last week, right? And they destroyed the Bills. They hung tight with the Bills earlier in the year when they played them in Buffalo, and yeah, dropped 46 on them this week with 174 yards, over 200 total yards, and 2 TDs. Achane is another dude that I love going out and acquiring, and it's really hard to say for me who I'd rather go out if I had the choice, and the two bottom teams in my league had Achane and JT. I don't know which one I'm more confident in throwing 2 firsts of value at. Like, Achane blows out an ACL. Where's his value at? JT blows out an ACL. Where does his value drop to, right? So those are always some things you got to think of in the back of your mind. Now, league winner wise, I haven't looked at Miami's schedule rest of the way here, but oh man, that is some juicy stuff. And all for a guy who basically has one of the highest floors of any running backs in the league. Like, you've got Achane, you've got McCaffrey, and you've got Bijan, who just get the catches and the yards. So they're already getting 10 points from their reception totals just about every week. So those are the guys that I really love, and that's why I kind of almost, I know JT is just blowing up with touchdowns, but I almost, if I've got 2 firsts to burn, right, where I'm a real solid contender, I got nice young assets at wide receiver like Rashee Rice and Puka or Chase, right, where I know I'm going to be contending for like the next 2 seasons. That's where I don't mind giving up my 26 and 27 firsts. It's where you're a middle of the pack team and you're just buying this guy to then elevate you. And I don't mean that, again, like I gave the example of my other team where I'm middle of the pack, but I'm like top 3 in points, right? If you're top 3 in points, that just means you've been unlucky so far, and the law of averages are probably going to keep you or elevate you into the playoffs. Look at your schedule. Who are you playing the next 4 weeks before the playoffs? Are you playing at least 3 teams that are under 500 or out of the playoffs? Like, those teams are the ones that are likely to trade away a few of their bigger assets, and not only have they struggled this season so far with injuries or bad play, but then they're going to be giving away, one or two of their top end assets as well to contenders. So they're going to probably drop even further. So if you're playing at least 3 teams that are under 500 or out of the playoffs, then you can really do that with confidence. Go ahead and trade for one of these big guns, because there's no doubt, like, this is a seller's market right now, especially at running back with the last week that we just had. But at the same time, like I just told you, you buy one of these guys, you're also playing defense. So that's where I don't hate it. Achan's one of my main guys that I love here going forward. All right. Next up, we're going to talk a little Jahmyr Gibbs. And if JT and Achan hadn't blown up this week, I mean, look at this dude's numbers: 172 total yards and 3 touchdowns. And this is a guy who's got David Montgomery always trying to nitpick and steal points here and there. Jahmyr Gibbs, man, the key here is he's on the best offense of the teams that we talked about. I know the Colts have looked good, right? But who do you trust going forward? Jared Goff or Daniel Jones the rest of the way? I'm sorry, but I'm going Jared Goff and Dan Campbell all day long. All right? Daniel Jones is the one. Like, really, think about the playoffs. Are the Colts not the ideal team to get the bye and then lose in the first round of the playoffs? I mean, in their first game at home, just blow it. Because when the playoffs come, you only got one game. Teams are likely to gang up on JT, try and stuff him like the Steelers did a couple weeks ago, and leave it on the shoulders of Daniel Jones. And is he going to be able to hit Alec Pierce and Michael Pittman and Tyler Warren all game long? Or is he going to turn it over a couple times like he did against the Steelers? So I'm just saying, Jahmyr Gibbs, I feel super confident in that he's going to continue to score. So now, obviously, his dynasty value he's valued a little higher than both JT and Achan. You got to pay up more for Jahmyr. Like, we're talking almost 3 firsts worth of value. So, it depends. We'll kick the can, but let's look at the old dynasty daddy for Jahmyr Gibbs. See where he's at. I'm just curious how many Jahmyr Gibbs trades we'll see over the last couple of days. 16 trades. Okay, so we had 12 with Jonathan Taylor. Oh, nine trades, actually. Okay, so here we go. First trade, Gibbs and Rico Dowdle for BTJ, Addison, a first and a third. Okay, so Dowdle and Addison are probably equal. Then you go on BTJ, a first and a third. Okay, I can live with that deal, right? A disappointing Brian Thomas, you're not getting any points for. Addison's up and down. Dowdle's been more consistent than Addison for sure. So yeah, I love that from a contending side. Here we go. Gibbs for Hampton, a first and a second, a 27 first. Okay. If you're rebuilding, I love that. If you're contending, that's not too terrible either. I mean, Hampton's going to be back in a couple weeks. Depends on your running back room. Okay, here's a juicy one. Malik Neighbors, Trey Benson, and a third for Jahmyr Gibbs. I like that from both angles. You're taking the upside shot on Trey Benson, but you're insulating your value with Malik Neighbors. This one here, Jalen Warren, along with 2 firsts and a second for Gibbs and a third. I don't hate that, even if you've got a middling or above average team. Jalen Warren still can score points. Here we go. We got J.J. McCarthy one more time. So Jahmyr Gibbs, Ladd McConkey. Oof, that's buying McCarthy pretty high. Here we go. 27 and 28 first, plus a second for Jahmyr Gibbs. Now, this is one that is similar to a deal that we had on the last Dynasty trade show that Matt and I went over. You had Bijan Robinson going for a 27 and 28 first and a 27 and 28 second. And we both liked that deal because, again, thinking to the off season, it's almost like you're renting them for free. Because yes, do old veteran running backs values dip at the beginning of the off season? For sure, because all of them are looked at as possibly getting replaced as you start the off season, right? Think DeAndre Swift and Aaron Jones and those types. They're all the hype's going to be about what running back when these guys teams are going to draft a running back and either let that guy go, cut him, but Bijan and Jahmyr Gibbs, are you worried about them drafting somebody to replace them? Hell no, right? And there's only a handful of teams that have running backs that you can say that about. I mean, even Achane, the Dolphins like drafting a running back in the 3rd, 4th round, 5th round every year. So I'm not saying Achane's going to get replaced. I'm just saying that the Dolphins don't mind drafting running backs early. And so the point is Bijan, Gibbs. I don't know if there's anybody else really I feel that secure on. Saquon, maybe. I don't think the Eagles are drafting a running back in the 1st or 2nd round this year. But who knows? So yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs, somebody I'm definitely at least kicking the tires on, seeing what they want. Gibbs is somebody that it seems like you could package up into a bigger deal and grab a second body there. All right. Oh geez, was I not showing these deals? There we go. Here's that first one. Rico Dowdle, Jahmyr Gibbs for Addison, BTJ, 1st and a 3rd that I liked. Here's Gibbs in the 3rd for Hampton, 1st and 2nd that I liked for the Gibbs side. Here's Gibbs for Neighbors, Benson, and a 3rd. I like both sides there. Jalen Warren, 2 firsts and a 2nd for Gibbs and a 3rd. That I don't mind for either side. This one I didn't like with McCarthy. Give me the Gibbs and McConkey side. That's what I was talking about, trying to add into the deal there. Because to me, that really, McConkey and McCarthy are pretty close in value. And then you got Gibbs going for a 1st and 2nd. Like, yeah, give me that. Then the Gibbs for 2 firsts and a 2nd is pretty fair. Here you go. This one I like. You got rid of Garrett Wilson. You got Devonta Smith, who's probably scoring the same, if not slightly ahead of Garrett Wilson this year. And then you're getting Gibbs for the 2 firsts and a 2nd value there. And then you've got Gibbs along with T. Higgins going for Judkins, Neighbors, and a 1st. That's another nice solid deal for both sides. I like it. I like it for both sides there. Value-wise, if you throw that in a calculator, I'm gonna guess that the neighbor's side wins, but that first is the tax that you're paying. I mean, that's a late first. I don't mind paying that late first if it's giving me, you know, the upgrade to Gibbs at running back and at least the upgrade in points this year from Neighbors to Higgins. Going forward, of course, you're getting the advantage at Neighbors. But yeah, there's your Jahmyr Gibbs deals. So, all right. Moving along. Now we're going to talk a little more volatility at the running back position, and we had a couple rookies who popped in value this week, and we're going to start it off with Travion Henderson. Let me bring him up. Here we go. There's old Travion. All right. So Hendo went for two big long touchdown runs this last week against Tampa. The last of which, of course, if you saw any of the highlights, you know that he looked over to the sideline to try and see if he needed to make the smart play and slide inside the 5 or not. But he finished with 147 and 2 touchdowns. Terrell Jennings got banged up, so it was really just the Travion show. Now, Ramondre has already been announced as out for Week 11 as the Pats get ready to take on the Jets tomorrow evening. So super excited for my Travion shares. Looking forward to that matchup tomorrow evening. I know Terrell Jennings is questionable, so that also puts another little bit of emphasis on the volume for Travion, the potential volume for him to get tomorrow evening. So really excited to look forward to see what he's able to pull off against that somewhat depleted Jets D. Now the Jets D didn't look all that bad this last week, but they were playing Cleveland as well, so it's hard to gauge. We'll see how they do against a little better Patriots offense this week. But Travion, curious to see what kind of deals he's been going for here. We'll check out the old Dynasty Daddy here. Bring up Hendo. There we go. All right. Here we are. Travion Henderson. Now, Dynasty Daddy, another just absolutely great free tool for you. Shout out to Justin for this site. He does a lot of hard work here. Look at all these ads popping up. Jeez. Okay. First deal with Henderson. We've got Hendo, Xavier Hutchinson in a second, going for Devontae Adams and ETN. Like that one. Now, ETN and Henderson could score the same amount rest of the season. Adams is a little banged up. I think he's still going to play this week, but yeah, I don't hate that one at all. Tucker Kraft straight up for Henderson. That's a move, a contender move. Henderson for a first and third seems fair. Bijan in a second for Hendo and 3 firsts. Woo-wee. Okay. So we break this down. I gotta say, 326 first. I gotta say, give me the Henderson side on that one. All right. Now that could be a rebuilder and a contender move right there. And we've got Quinshon Judkins for Henderson in a second. I'll take the Henderson side there. Here we've got Malik Neighbors, Scattaboo, and Henderson going for Chase Brown, JSN, and Jacoby Brissett. So, okay. This is definitely a contender versus a rebuilder. We got JSN and Neighbors. You can cross each other out. Chase Brown for Henderson. That's pretty close. And then Scadaboo versus Brissett. So yeah, the rebuilder is getting a little bit extra on the value side, which is typical for a rebuilder versus contender deal. You gotta, if you're the contender, you gotta expect to pay a little bit more. I mean, after all, we're trying to win here, right? That is the goal, not just to have the most valuable roster by some calculators' standards. McCaffrey for Henderson and a first. Yeah, like that deal, both sides. And then Henderson for a first and third again. So you can see it's really Henderson's going to contenders and he's going to rebuilders. So that's the nice thing about him as an asset. So let's check out RJ Harvey now, another rookie who's popped a little here because of the J.K. Dobbins news. He's got a foot injury. He hasn't been ruled out yet this week, but it's not looking good for Dobbins. Now, this is an injury where they might keep him out a couple of games. So Harvey's going to get his opportunity to shine now. He did have 1 week earlier. Where was that? Against Cincinnati, where he got 14 carries for 58 yards. But otherwise, his highest rushing yard total, he had 70 in week 1 against Tennessee. He had one long run in that game, and then 7 for 46 against Dallas. So you can see he's done his most damage against Tennessee, Cincinnati, and Dallas. So coming up, he's got Kansas City, then a bye, then Washington, Las Vegas, Green Bay, Jacksonville, and Kansas City again. So middling schedule. I like the Washington and Las Vegas matchups in weeks 13 and 14. So we'll see how Harvey does. You can see his projections moved up a lot for this week. So the key here is, I know that they're going to mix in another running back, whether it's Beatty or McLaughlin. They're going to get some handoffs. I really want to see the volume move up in the targets here, because Harvey was basically drafted for the Sean Payton, Alvin Kamara role, and I want to see, this could really help Bo Nix if Nix works on being able to do the dump offs to to Harvey, much like Breeze was doing to Kamara. And that's what we all envisioned. Whoever drafted RJ Harvey, that's what you were envisioning. So now it's the second half of the season, and it's generally when the rookies start to take off. So let's see what Harvey has been going for in this past week. Let me bring up old RJ Harvey here. There we are. Okay. So RJ Harvey, 22 deals in the last 3 days. He's been a little flexible here. Okay, we got Quinshon Judkins for Harvey and a 26 first. I'll take the Harvey side there. RJ Harvey and a second for Khalil Shakir. Hell yeah. Take that. Harvey for a 26 first straight up. Yeah, that's about where he's at value-wise. That's fair. Harvey and Fannin for Troy Franklin and a first. Full point tight end premium. Give me the Fannin side there. Harvey for a 27 first. Yeah, again, that's about his straight up value. Harvey in a second for Garrett Wilson. That seems about fair. Harvey and ETN for Tet and a second. Yeah, I can see that. ETN for the second and Harvey and Tet going at about an equal value. This one here, this guy's just nuts. 12 teamer, and you're giving up 5 assets for RJ Harvey. That's ridiculous. RJ Harvey for Jamison Williams. Yeah, that's even. Harvey for a second. Now, what is that? A 8-teamer? No, 12-teamer. Yeah, I'll take the Harvey side all day for a second, please. I'll take it. Darren Waller a second and a fourth for Harvey and a third. I'll take Harvey in that one. We got another Harvey Tet deal here. Oh, this one's a little juicier. Harvey and Drake London for Tet and a first. So McMillan drew a lot of comps to Drake London in the offseason. Now, he's not quite there value-wise, but similar to Drake London's struggles early on in his career with the quarterback situation, Tet is experiencing that as well. So I'm going to take the London and Harvey side here, but if you're rebuilding, I can understand the Tet and first round side. And then the one on the left here, Olave and Chase Brown for Harvey, a first, second, and fourth. I like the Harvey side there. I mean, Chase Brown and Harvey and fourth, probably equal. I'm not giving up a first and second for Olave. Like, Olave looked good last week, but geez. All right. Harvey for Woody Marks straight up. I can see that. Woody Marks has been getting some run there in Houston. So there's our look at a couple of hot rookie running backs. I just want to mention some of the veteran running backs. DeAndre Swift, Aaron Jones, and Alvin Kamara. So they come to mind as potential cheap buys for contenders if you're not able to acquire one of those higher-end running backs that we just talked about. These are dudes that you can get for a couple of thirds, a second. You just kick the tires on your league mates who own these older backs. I mean, some of these older backs are going to be owned by teams that are just outside the playoffs right now, because these running backs haven't really produced greatly. Swift has done pretty well. He's done his typical, I mean, DeAndre Swift's around somewhere in between running back 15 and 20 just about every season, and that's about right where he's at. Again, he did make it back from his injury and put together 80 yards last week. Monangai stole the touchdown, though, from him. So, again, going forward, we have no idea what his role is going to be. He's somebody who, like I was talking about, his value is going to drop right after the season. Nobody's going to want him. A, because you've got Monangai there. B, what is his contract situation? Are the Bears going to keep him or cut him? And then what do the Bears need, right? Do they have second and third, fourth round pick where they could draft another running back again? So I would rank Swift as the highest of those. Swift, Aaron Jones, and Kamara. I would probably rate Aaron Jones just ahead of Kamara because I like his touchdown upside a little bit more. Vikings are a better offense than the Saints, put it that way. And Kamara, I mean, yeah, he got good run last week, but that was against Carolina. You know, I don't want to put a whole lot of stock into that. So, yeah, is Kamara going to continue that for the rest of the season? Who knows? So I'd rank it in Swift, Aaron Jones, and Kamara. That's the order I'd go. I'd be willing to pay a second for Swift. Do I want to pay a second for Aaron Jones or Kamara? Not really. Like, if I could squeeze a fourth back, maybe that's what I want to do. We'll see. So that's where I'm at on some running back targets. All of them definite sells because this is a seller's market. Again, this is the time where you can sell and you can pinch guys for an extra second or third. That's what you want to do. Whatever they offer you right up, ask for a second or third on top of it, because these guys, that are contending, they will pay if they really want to win. That's what you're basically asking. When you get an offer for 2 firsts for JT and you ask for another second on top of that, you're asking them, do you really want to win? Do you really want to win? Or do you just kind of feel like it, right? That's how you determine if they really want to win. Next up, Jackson Dart. Yeah, here we go. So Dart got a concussion last week. Basically cost Dable his job by getting the concussion, and the Giants blew that lead in the fourth quarter. Now, I mean, the writing was pretty much on the wall already for Dable, unless Dart was able to rip off like 5 or 6 wins in a row here. Darts look phenomenal. I mean, look at these numbers: 28 points, 19, 29, 26 points. Up to QB 13 on the season, and the dude didn't even play the first 3 weeks. So coming up, we've got the Packers at the Lions, at the Pats, and then a bye. So he's going to miss this week for sure with the concussion. And then it's kind of up in the air. You know, if they lose to the Packers, they're going to be 2-9, not going to make the playoffs. How eager are you to rush Jackson Dart back with a coaching regime that is not going to be here the following season? Like, I don't know. I don't think they can shut him down for the rest of the season just because of a concussion. But, yeah, they are going to be in no hurry to bring him back at all here. So this is a real interesting proposition. If I'm contending, I'm avoiding Jackson Dart. That's just something I wanted to really iterate out here, is if I'm contending, I'm really worried about how many games Jackson Dart actually is going to play the rest of the season. So do I think he will be playing after the bye? Yes. But how successful he'll be is really tough for me to read right now. At the same time, you got Jameis Winston out there. I know he's available in some leagues. He's probably out there in about half of the Dynasty leagues, right? Well, yeah, even more than that. He's rostered in 35%. So that means that Jameis Winston can light it up for you. Do what you can. If you've got Jackson Dart, go out there and get Winston. Joe Burrow. I mentioned earlier this week that he is back on the practice field. He is targeting a Thanksgiving return against, will that be, I think that's, let's see, what this weekend is it? 1, 2. So he's going to miss the next 2 games. Yeah, next 2 weeks. No, next 2 games. Week 10 was their bye. Next 2 games, and then at Baltimore is the game that he's eyeing up to return. So you'll be back just in time for your, last 2 weeks of the regular season and the postseason. So he's somebody you could kick the tires on trying to acquire if you're contending, if you want to take that risk. I mean, he's coming off this toe injury, and we've all seen how Brock Purdy struggled coming back from it. Turf toe, foot injuries are tricky. You never know how well a guy is going to return from an injury like that. So, another couple of injuries to mention. Just Travis Hunter down for the season. So, if you're rebuilding, go out there and be aggressive. Try and get him. Give somebody points. Give them, if you've got Travis Etienne and Khalil Shakir, get those points off your roster, get your max points down, and go after a big gun. One of those, again, foundational pieces. I believe Travis Hunter can be that. That Parker Washington is looking really good there, but I don't think that Parker Washington is going to be the pillar of the Jacksonville pass attack going forward, okay? Parker Washington is a great fill-in piece for this season, but at the same time, like, yeah, he might be around next season, but with a healthy Travis Hunter, and hopefully they realize that he should be playing strictly offense next season, that's a bet I'm willing to take. All right. And we already talked about Neighbors some. We've also got Marvin Harrison out this week now with an emergency appendix surgery. So you can go out and try and acquire Marv. Either way, contending or rebuilding, Marv might have a little dip in value. You know, he's seen a little pop here with Jacoby Brissett taking over for Kyler Murray. So Marv is another guy I like going out and trying to go after. But yeah, there it is. The Wednesday night heater. Love having you in the house. Any other questions, thoughts, just throw them down in the comments section. Make sure to hit that like button, comment and subscribe. Let me know what you thought. And again, I'm here to help, so let me try and help you out. All right? Thank you for joining tonight. Remember, never stop working.